Hi everyone. Now, what I'm going to be tying, well, basically a snake now, but this is a rabbit version. Now I'm going to be tying a bigger version of this, exactly the same, using a different type of hair. I'm actually going to be using possum, American possum. You can see it there. This American possum in black, obviously. This patch, they get patches and you just cut them to suit yourself. This is, as you can see, from a company called Future Fly. Now, it's a great material. I mean, bracelet rabbit's good as well. If you want a kind of heavier, slightly heavier feeling to it. The possum's much lighter, but it gives you a different looking fly. It gives you a bigger fly. Now, what I'm going to be tying it onto is basically I've got some carp hooks. To be honest with you, I'm going to confess I don't know where I bought these, but as you can see, it's a number it's on it. I must have bought them at a fly fair or so. There's not a size 2, so it's a big hook. It's a barbed hook though. I've debarbed it. It's quite easy to debarb the hooks. My friend's going to Argentina, so it's all barbless, so it's best to debarb them while you're tying. Now, what I'm going to do is basically tie in. Now, the snake has to be quite a loose, tight back of it. You tie this hook on at the back. I'm going to tie it onto a shank. So basically I've got to attach, this case, I'm just using a backing, 25 pound backing, obviously doubled, which obviously makes it much stronger. But to attach it to the hook first, what I like to do is put a thread down. I'm using black thread. This is a 6/0 uni thread. I'm just going to bring it down to the point of the hook. So I've got a good length here, around about maybe 8 inches or so for this size I'm tying. So basically, if you imagine you put the loop on the top here, and then bring it, the two ends, hold a second, put them together, just making sure they're lined up, come up underneath, and then I pull this to here. Now, if you imagine this would be like if it was right up at the top. If you want to replace this, if you were tying like a stinger hook or so, or a stinger style, but I'm basically going to tie this on. It's going to be a permanent fixture, as they say. So I'm just going to pull it, making sure that these are nice and straight before we tie it in. I thought I'd got it there. So I'm actually going to catch it at the back. I mean, this is a pattern I've tied quite a few times for Argentina, and it's a good pattern. The old snake flies are good, especially at night time as they fish these. Now, what was I saying? Make sure these are nice and straight, so and underneath the shank. And then just wind the thread all the way up. Now, as we get to the eye here, again, just make sure it's nice and tight. And then I'm going to take my thread back down. I mean, this is going to get in the way a wee bit, but just ignore it. I'll try anyway. Now, just going to build the thread over this. You're going to have a wee lump here, but don't worry about it. You can basically tidy this up. And I'm going to tie in a length of the, well, basically the possum. It's cut quite thin. So I mean, I cut them in different lengths, thicknesses, depending on the style that you want. I'm actually getting a bit short here, this sort of lengths, but because I've tied a few over the years, and I mean quite a few out the patch. Just have a wee quick look just to see if there's a slightly thicker part of this. No, I mean this is it. I'll use the original piece I was going to use. And what I'm going to do is, I like to, right at the very end, make sure it's pointed. Now this is round about maybe, it doesn't have to be hugely long because I'm going to wind some at the top. Just cut it into a point, into a pencil point. Make a space, just to tie it in. I mean, I won't have it too long. Just draw the hair back. And then look at where we're tying it on the top. It's nice and tight. You could moisten the hair just to draw it back a wee bit. You just basically have to make sure you tie this in nice and tight. Make sure there's a few turns. It's a bit, stuff's in the way at the moment, so you just need to be patient with it. Yeah, I'm using in this one, this is, you can see there, Peacock dubbing from Veniards. This is a purple. It's a great colour. So I'm going to be tying this on just at the back. Just basically tidying things up. Looks much better. You can brush this into the dressing as if you want. So basically I just wind on the area I've cut in the Opposum. I say just hold it back. A wee bit of moisture on it. It's a wee bit better. Once I've got a few bit of dubbing on, I can then take away the excess dubbing. Then I lift it up. Now I can get a wee bit quicker. Hold that back. A wee bit more. Now you could blend this if you want to, don't put it on, you could blend it into fur, or rabbit, or into something that would give it a wee bit, it'd last a wee bit longer. Just bring this over the top, you tie this on. Just make sure you get enough hair. Again, just persevere here, tie it on the top, make sure it's sitting the way you want. A few turns. Again, if you want to tidy this up, tiny bit of dubbing. I usually lift the Opposum out the way, and then basically just wet finish in front. I say you just have to be patient, everything's in the way when you're doing these. 2 or 3 turns and that's pull your, and there we are. Just check your length, everything's fine. It looks okay. Now, just a wee touch, or either UV resin or varnish, just touch the head. Now I'm going to tie it onto the shank, which I'm going to be using, so I'll take the hook off. The shanks I'm using, these ones are for Partridge, quite neat, I like them. I like the straight eye, I prefer a straight eye because it gives me the option of where I want to put a bead if I want a bead on it. So basically it's quite simple, there's a large loop at the back and a small one at the top here. My vise holds it in the groove perfectly. So I'll go back to my thread, my uni thread in 6/0. Just put some thread on the shank. Pays you to make sure it's nice and tight. Plenty. Now you've got to watch this wee bit because sometimes the cut ends are a wee bit sharp. Just bring these together in a sec. So we've got back to, well basically we're back to the tying this on. As I say, the reason I'm using the backing is it's much more flexible, it's got a lot more movement in it. If you're tying like this type of fly, I'm just checking my length. If you want to tie it as a full length, it'd be like this. If you want to put a bit of hackle at the front, you leave a space for that. So I'm looking at the length I want. So this is quite a long one, so basically I'm going to tie it in at this area here. Have them in different lengths. Now I'm going to tie the backing on the sides. One my side, one that. To this point, I'm just going to hold the hook and pull it so it's where I want it. So it's got the right length, same length. I can tighten to it. See where that. Now I'm going to put both ends up through the eye, just to take them out of the way. just at this point. I'm just keeping it underneath, taking the thread quickly up, and then I'm going to fold it back, and then work my way back down. Just tidy things up. See how it's sitting. I've got the length here. Now what I'm going to do is just tie this on here, but obviously make sure that this is not tight like this and causes, I don't know if you can see it, you want the backing to be the tightest. Keep it tight and then position, in this case, Opposum on the top, so it's a wee bit looser. I'm just going to keep this hair on here, so we're nice and tight. See how it looks, just check it before you go any further. So the tightest is the backing, is the loop. That's nice, that's slack, so you're never going to break this. Tie this at full length. Now, there's 2 or 3 versions that I've actually tied. There's one where it's got a grey front, so it works really well. That's your, basically the back done. Now the front, there's 2 or 3 things you can do. Now what I'm going to actually do is I've got more Opposum here. Basically I'm using up the kind of not so good pieces. I'm actually going to use it like a hackle. There's one here, this is ideal. Now I'm going to put my dubbing on, I'm going to put basically this on and then my dubbing. And as I say, I'm going to use this like a hackle. We catch it in, so we go back to our same dubbing, this here. Now what I'm going to do is actually going to come out a wee bit, so you can see the full fly. There. So I've got my dubbing. Just put it on. Now you could put flash in this as well, but most times I don't put any flash other than maybe on the body. It's fine. Just tighten up a wee bit. What I'm doing here is just basically tidying things up. Putting enough dubbing on so that I'm going to use some Velcro to bring it into the dressing when I wind up the Opposum as a hackle. Leave yourself enough at the head. I'm going to put some bead in it. So then we wind up the Opposum as a hackle really. So just wind up, spread it out, ribbon it like basically like you were ribbing the fly. So just stroke back this fibre, stroke it back. Get to the top. This is probably around about, I'm just going to put 2 or 3 turns, I'm just going to finish it off. Yeah, that should be enough. About 4 inches or so in length should get you up. Tidy up. Yeah, I'm just going to bring out some of the flash. I mean, it looks rough just now, but I'm going to put the hairdryer on and let you see what it's like. So I'm just going to use the hairdryer just to show you. I mean, it's a nice shape. A lot of movement in it, so it has. Beads, you could put on this is just painted beads, these are the dumbbells. Now, you want the fly to sit like this, in this style, because obviously the way the wing is. So the beads have to go on the underside, So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out the vise, turn it upside down, put it back in. It makes it easier. Just lift the shank up a bit better. Just figure 8 these on. Nice and tight. And with the flat shank, these will not rotate around the vise, or around the shank, sorry. They'll sit nice. There we go. And you could finish off with some more of the dubbing. You could change the colour if you want, but I'll stick to this, the purple. And all I do is, oops, put it at the back. Just build it up. See what it looks like. A wee touch more. Just make it a wee bit heavier because I'm going to brush it out so it comes into the dressing. So, but as long as you put the thread through it, it will actually hold it. Then I'm going to take my thread to the front and then whip finish. Just hold the wing here and then just brush out some of the dubbing. Just blends into the actual dressing, so there we go. Now we turn it the right way up. There's a lot of movement in this fly, so there is. It's basically what you want. The thing about possum is that it's actually it's not as dense as rabbit though. I mean, rabbit's good, but this gives you another, and it's very light, it's a very fine hair, it's very mobile hair. Now all I have to do is just 2 or 3 coats of varnish, just to finish it off. Make sure you do in between the eyes, and make sure you fill up the space in there so you get plenty of varnish on. I mean, obviously you can use a resin if you want, probably quicker, but there we are. So basically there we go. That's the, well, it's a snake pattern but tied with the American possum. I know it doesn't look, it's just a black fly, but at the end of the day it's the great black's a great colour. It's got the purple through it, it works really well. You can change it, you could put the, as I say, you could put, as I put it, I should have one of my flies. Basically, there's one here, but with a Chartreuse head. It's a Chanel head, it's just like an egg sucking leech type pattern. You can have, to say, the grey and black, silver head. The grey and black's it works well. So it's just up to you. I mean, these work, so they're nice patterns, I say. I thought you'd like to see it, something a wee bit different. I don't tie many of them. It's just an odd times. Just to say, a friend's going down to Argentina, and thought I'd tie him a couple to have a cast with. So I guess that a wee drop more varnish on here. Finish it off. It soaks it up. Don't be shy to put the varnish in. And there you go. And that's the possum snake. So I hope you enjoyed that. And again, thanks for watching.